The Uber Cab company that was original Uber is created by Travis Kalanick, who sold RaceMove for $90 million in 2007, and Garrett Camp, co-founder of StumbleWhopper. First, when Travis Kalanick was young, he had to leave the Catholic University of LA to focus on his project SourceIns, a peer-to-peer file sharing service. In the year 2000, the Motion Picture Association of America and Recording Industry Association of America filed a lawsuit against SourceIns. In 2001, the SourceIns team a new RaceMove company. The company's software promotes file transfer such as movies and videos. But in 2007, Kalanick sold the company Akamai Technologies for $23 million. In 2008, the company Uber is created, and through Kalanick likes the idea of low-cost taxi transport. This idea is from Garrett Camp, Oscar Salazar, and Conrad. They enter the business, and Uber Cab is born. The first round of funding involved capital from Freeze Round Capital and Naspers, co-founder of Shaw Fanning. The company invests with John Ryan Graves as manager and Kalanick as CEO, forming a solid company. The second round of funding involves $11 million from Bill Gurley, a combat engineer, and more than 12 leading communications companies investing in UberCap. However, in 2011, complaints confront taxi drivers saying that they do not want the World Cup in the service. This was head by the company UberCap and the agent to Uber.
Anna and I have the question number 2. That is, why did the company incur in this unethical practice, or why is it unethical? First of all, something or someone who is unethical is literally not ethical. In other words, that someone is lacking principles of or morals, because being unethical involves going against social or professional expectations of what's right. It's a word that is often used to describe bad behavior or immoral conduct. The sexual harassment in the workplace, as in many other areas, has the advantage for the harasser of a vulnerable situation in which the victim, in fear of losing this job, is compelled to silence and submission. Of course, there are not the factors that favor the detection and prevention of this type of risk. The victim can exercise in the labor jurisdiction determination of the employment relationship with compensation, and even the action for damages under certain circumstances in which the company has indications or a knowledge of the situation of harassment. However, it is not admissible that in the era of accomplice and this our legal system does not demand the maximum reproach when the company does not exercise the maximum protection over its most important value, the human component. Now, my partner Anna.
Harassment does not require acts of sexual abuse or assault. which are separate crimes that, of course, implies greater penalties. In the sexual variant of harassment, the act of requesting sexual favors, whether explicit, implicit, or even subtle, is sanctioned by means of intimidation, hostility, or humiliation for the victim. The big question is, why did the company incur in this unethical practice? The answer is, the company did not engage with the unethical practice. It was the manager who had a superior role at the company that used his power upon the executive Susan, given that she was a girl or woman, so he felt he was superior than her, and he used his power in order to harass her sexually, of course. And this is unethical because he, with his position, he should respect the women and males within the company, because each human has his and her very rights, because we're humans and you should be respected by it. So it meant a invasion of her freedom, and it was irrespectful with her rights.
Okay, what can we as consumers or citizens do to stop these situations from happening? Our topic is Uber. In this case, we can see problems, or we can see the situation of sexual harassment taking place and gender bias. About the sexual harassment, I first think that we as humans, we need to know our rights. Obviously, sexual harassment is illegal. You will find lots of helpful information on websites. If you find yourself in this situation, and the first thing that you have to do, obviously, is to speak up, to tell the person that is harassing you to stop, and you cannot be concerned about retaliation. You need to get information or support. If you feel that you cannot speak up, you can talk to someone that makes you feel safe. And other ways, I would say, keep records or journals. If obviously, in this case, if you cannot, or if you feel that the sexual harassment hasn't stopped, you need to keep records. Obviously, there are your only proof on this matter. You only can have those proof to defend yourself. You can save any letters, emails, or even like notes. You have to have something about it. You have to prove yourself that this is happening in the workplace or outside, even outside of the workplace, so you can defend yourself. About gender bias, the truth is that we all have unconscious bias, and this impacts our perceptions of others. To some degree, nearly everyone of all backgrounds shows unconscious preference for a certain group on the basis of factors such as gender, sex, and race. First of all, I think as a community we have to teach kids about gender bias. For example, explain the importance of listening and appreciating both genders, or asking kids to think about what might be challenging about being a person of another gender, or a person who is transgender. Like, basically work on developing the empathy In general, I think we as consumers have to create some type of social awareness about the problems that we face in this case. So companies start making some activities like seminars, for example. These seminars will help to clarify definitions on topics like sexual harassment and gender bias. It will help employees to have tools to engage on these types of problems, like how to stop it or how can they prevent it, and what can they do if they're already in these types of situations. So where do they go? Who can they speak with? It's really important to make clear what does and troubles you as a person, even as a community, so others have this information and can change something of it.
I'm going to talk about what companies can do to improve the situation. Even though in this case, Uber CEO Travis Kalanick tried to make up Susan Fowler for the damage, and also started an investigation for the sexual harassment and the gender discrimination in the company, I think that this is not enough. Companies should take a lot of more of measures in these situations because this can't be happening anymore. I think that we or they have to prevent the situation and not always regret the situation that already happened. I think that they should take a lot of more of consciousness and I don't know, improve their departments like human resources or something else, or create new ones that take care of the situation.
Other ways to prevent this case are your employees' policy handbooks needs the following police: sexual harassment police, general harassment police, police about how sexual harassment investigations are conducted in your company, and a police that forbids an employee in a supervisor role from dating a reporting employee, and the details to steps required show a relation form. Workplace non-fraternization police need to recognize that the workplace is one of the logical locations for people to meet and fall in love, as long as the employees engage in their relationship following common sense guidelines. After working this police, you need to train all employees on the ways to prevent sexual harassment and how to report sexual harassment when it occurs. Managers and supervisors are on the front lines when it comes to managing employee performance and needs from work. First, and more importantly, do you not want a workplace culture that allows any form of assessment to occur out of your commitment to your employees, and your company harassment in any form is never to be tolerated. As an employer, demonstrating that you took appropriate steps following a sexual harassment complaint is a crucial. In fact, demonstrating that you took immediate action and that the consequence for the perpetrator were severe is also critical. The frontline leader is usually the person initiating and following thoughts on those steps, so they have to feel confident about that they are doing.